Welcome to another edition of From the Vault. It's presented by the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame. I'm Todd Lewis. We have two races for you today. First up, the big rigs take on Mosport. Then we have off-road sprint races from Kitchener, Ontario. First up, the big Detroit diesel power of the big rigs race for the first time on a road course while in the rain. Enjoy the Great American Truck Race that took place in 1987.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Mosport. I'm Paul Chater, and Sports Weekend is here to cover a most unusual motor race. Until now, the most powerful vehicles we've seen on this track have been Indy cars or Formula One machines. That was until these monsters showed up. They're here for the Rothmans Great American Truck Race. They belt out more than 1,000 horsepower, and for most of the drivers, this will be a unique experience. Many of them have never run on a road course before, and most have never driven in the rain. These trucks are loud, they're fast, they're dramatic, and they belch out more smoke than an average factory. Here they are, 100 tons of the unlikeliest racing machines ever assembled. Mosport will never seem the same again. Just before the race, I spoke with Mosport's Harvey Hudis. Harvey, why have you brought these monsters to Mosport?
Well, they've been running in the States for a number of years, and they've been running very successfully in Europe as well. And I've been following it, and I just think it's a gas, and I thought, knowing the Mosport fans, something as unique and different as this would really be something they'd get off on, and frankly, so am I, so here they are.
So you're a little worried about your guardrail and the cement walls?
Well, they break them, we'll fix them. You know, that's the name of the game.
Here are names we've never seen on the Mosport grid before. Mack Truck, White, GMC, Kenworth, and the Detroit Diesel of Charlie Baker, who holds the pole position. Shauna Robinson qualified third on the grid. 22 years of age, she's the only full-time professional racer on the grid today.
Now with the rain situation, it's just mainly going to be keeping your truck on the racetrack is going to be the main consideration today. I mean, you're not going to be worried too much about hitting your apexes because you're going to be worried about keeping the truck on the racetrack, being smooth.
How difficult is that going to be? Are these trucks a handful?
Yeah, they are, because when you think about braking, your braking is just, it's something that weighs that much, and then you're trying to get it to slow down, and on dry, the trucks don't slow down very easy anyway, so you're going to have to just be as smooth as you can, and, you know, just be smooth and concentrate on keeping it on there, which is not going to be a real easy thing to do, but we're going to try to do it, so.
The field streams past corner 9 on the pace lap. The rain that has threatened all day is holding off, though the track is damp. These monsters are sure to prove a handful on the Mosport track, which is difficult even in the best of conditions. And as the flag falls, the drivers pour it on. Some of these trucks are producing 1,200 horsepower, and all of them are on street tires that are designed for handling goods, not racing. Into the lead goes pole sitter Charlie Baker over Dick Martaw, while just behind is number 15, the yellow Mack truck of Luther Burton. Fourth is Shauna Robinson, but she loses a place to E.J. Utley on the climb up to corner 2. Down the terrifying drop into corner 2, it's Charlie Baker still. Look at this, full opposite lock, foot down slide. Somehow he keeps it on the track, then belches smoke into the face of the pursuing Murtaugh. The field rounds corner 3. Usually these trucks and their drivers race on ovals, always turning left. This right-hand turn will seem very strange to them. And as we see, some of the stragglers are finding the conditions to be pretty severe. At corner 5, the order is unchanged, and we get a close look at both Baker and Murtaugh as they round the slowest part of the course and then power their way up the long uphill Andretti Straight, where earlier in dry conditions, some of these trucks were reaching speeds of 130 miles per hour. Today, however, caution in the dampness of the track will keep the speeds right down. Although the trucks have huge power outputs and their torque is enormous, the minimum imposed weight is 10,000 pounds. And this, coupled with their complete lack of aerodynamics, is what will keep the speeds down.
From the Vault is brought to you by M-Zone, premium auto care proudly owned and made by Canadians. By Recap Recovery Drink. By WeatherTech. For the perfect fit and ultimate in-vehicle protection, nothing protects like WeatherTech. Order online at weathertech.ca. and by the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame. Visit our website for Hall merchandise.
Baker rounds corner 10 to end the first lap of this 40-lap race, part of the Rothmans weekend, which features racing of all kinds, but nothing else like truck racing. Like most of the truckers here today, Baker's machine is not equipped with windshield wipers. Before the race, his crew fitted deflectors onto the hood and also cut a hole right in the windshield to help him see. Leading the race will help his vision, but those behind will have the additional handicap of racing in the spray thrown up by those ahead. This time in corner 2, Baker's style is less exuberant. This lap, instead of skating around the corner Sterling Moss once called the most difficult in North America, he's driving it. But in any case, he looks like he's taking it easy. Third and fourth are still the dueling Mack trucks of Burton and Utley. Baker rounds corner 5. The truck racers are involved in a season-long championship for the Detroit Diesel Allison Cup. At this stage of the year, Murtaugh leads from Burton. Mosport is the 10th of the 12-race program, and the points gap between them is less than a win. So with a $60,000 purse to be shared, it's easy to see why the two leaders are out in front, and why Burton and Utley are trying so hard to close the gap. At the end of the Andretti straight, Baker leads, but Murtaugh has pulled back some time up the long uphill straight. Already lapped is the blue Freightliner of Vern Natzke. At the end of lap 2, Murtaugh is right on Baker's tail. These two seem to be in a class of their own. Though they race just as a hobby, they really are racing. The question is Baker holding up Murtaugh, or can the blue truck stay ahead? Up the hill, Baker powers ahead, opening a small gap as they both pass a back marker and then plunge down towards corner 2.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, over here.
Again, Baker slides the 10,000-pound monster into corner 2 like it was a go-kart, but this time it is Murtaugh who closes the gap. With 1,000 horsepower on tap, especially with standard tires, it's not so much power or handling or even braking that is difficult, but being able to get traction on the slippery, slick road surface. And number 11, Ricky Trotter, already finds himself pointing the wrong way. Here is Utley, now up to third place. Utley is an engineer. He, unlike most of his competitors, has equipped his truck with windshield wipers, or at least one of them. We often speak of titanic battles for the lead at Mosport, but today, after this one, it will be difficult to ever use the term again. Huge, billowing clouds of black diesel smoke cloud our vision as the leaders power their way up the back straight. And at corner 8, it's Murtaugh who appears first. We have a new leader. Up the long climb, traction or power has enabled him to pass Baker and move into the lead. But on the pit straight, Murtaugh overdoes it, correcting magnificently. Nonetheless, he's clipped by the pursuing Baker and proceeds with his left front wheel wobbling, now in second place again. As we watch Murtaugh's wheel at corner 1, it can be seen that incredibly his wheel has straightened itself out. Like most of the trucks here today, Murtaugh's is equipped with a solid front axle. It's built like, well, it's built like a truck, and so perhaps the wobble inflicted by the collision has cured itself. It's amazing that Murtaugh kept that 10,000 pounds of truck off the pit wall, but he overcorrected, came back towards the middle of the track, and got clobbered by Baker. Otherwise, he probably would have spun right around and off the other side of the track. Shauna Robinson in the pink Kenworth has moved into fourth place and is closing. Her approach to truck racing is, like all serious racers, meticulous and professional.
We're setting it up to run as fast as we can. You know, the rain is not what the trucks are made for, but everybody's got the same handicap, so we'll see who wins.
And on lap 8, Shauna moves ahead of Utley into third place. Just as at corner 8, we see Baker lose his lead in a cloud of mud as he slides off, leaving Murtaugh the undisputed leader, at least for a while. Baker gets going again. He and Murtaugh have raced together so quickly, they have lapped all their rivals and they enjoy a healthy cushion over Robinson in third place. Despite his error, he retained second place, some 12 seconds behind the leader Murtaugh, who is now rounding corner 1. For the first time in this race, Murtaugh has a comfortable lead, but Burton is immediately hot in pursuit. In corner 1, Robinson, handicapped by an obstructed windscreen, is now harried by Utley. And on the haul up from the exit, she is first passed by the yellow truck, then by Baker. Now it's Utley's turn. Into the smoke, they dive into corner 2, the turn where Baker has been thrilling spectators all day with his verve and at times seemingly suicidal tactics. Alongside into corner 3, then on the outside on the long sweeping right-hander, he challenges Utley, who, despite being a lap down, is involved in his own battle and is not about to move over for the charging Baker. And at corner 5, though Murtaugh's red truck still leads, Baker is right on his tail. Both these drivers are handling these monsters like real race cars, and indeed, as the race progresses, we begin to see them not as a novelty, but as real race cars, as their drivers are real racers. At corner 8, at the end of the back straight, Baker is still right on Murtaugh's tail, and only today does the phrase racers eating smoke really begin to have meaning. Baker closes at corner 10, pressuring the leader in the hope of forcing him into an error like the one earlier. But Murtaugh stays on line as they both power up the pit straight to complete another lap with Baker still just behind. It's hard to imagine the conditions these racers are enduring. Baker, driving in the wake of Murtaugh's truck without wipers of any kind, he must peer out of a small hole in the windshield. Under the hoods of these trucks are huge capacity twin turbo diesels, producing more than 10 times the power of a sporty mid-size sedan. Add to this standard tires and the slippery track, and our respect for the skill of these men and women rises to match the respect we have for the courage it must take to be in them here today. Remember, though many years of development have led to advancements that are today absolutely necessary to race on circuits like Mosport for racers, these trucks, built to race on ovals in dry conditions, do not have the benefit of such refinements. Neither do the drivers. For let us repeat ourselves, most of them have never before raced on a circuit like Mosport, which, it is generally acknowledged, is one of the most complex and demanding on the continent, if not the world.
We're at the midway point in this Rothman's Great American Truck Race. There's still a good fight going for first place. We'll be back with more of the action on Sports Weekend right after this.
We're back at Mosport for the conclusion of the Rothman's Great American Truck Race, which is part of a 3-day program for the Rothman's Weekend. Here are the standings, and at the head of the pack is a great fight for the lead between Dick Murtaugh from Central Square, New York in the red number 33 truck, and Charlie Baker from Hanover, Pennsylvania in the blue number 39. These two have struggled for the entire race and have lapped all their competitors, including current third-place driver Luther Burton from Columbus, Indiana, in the yellow number 15 Mack truck. Burton is not in the running for the season-long Detroit Diesel Allison Championship, but today he is putting in a fine performance, enjoying a good lead over the owner of his truck, E.J. Utley, in the pursuing number 5 Mack truck. Utley from Orlando, Florida, is a real truck racing enthusiast who uses the racetrack for a proving ground for advances that may be incorporated into commercial use. Today, however, Utley is more concerned with staying ahead of Shauna Robinson here in the pink truck. She's the only woman racer on the truck racing circuit. Despite a long pit stop to clean her windshield, she is doggedly closing on Utley's 4th place. But at the front, the fight continues. If closeness is the essence of racing, truck racing is the tops, as I'm sure the watching crowd will agree. Murtaugh leads, Baker pursues, but from trackside we can see that though Murtaugh races calmly and smoothly, Baker is sometimes off the track and crossed up as he tries to go ahead. So we can imagine better what it's like in the cabs of these racers. I spoke to Baker earlier.
Charlie, this sure doesn't look like a standard truck. Now, obviously, you've removed the steering wheel so we can have a better look, but the most glaring thing for me right off the start looking in here is you've got no clutch pedal.
Well, we don't, the cockpit is cut down so small, and for comfort and convenience sake, I don't use the clutch pedal. I have a valve down here alongside of my seat that operates an air cylinder, which works the clutch. And With the 13-speed standard transmission, I only use the clutch to get the truck to where it starts to roll, and I don't use the clutch after that because it slows down the shifting process. The transmission is, they call it a 13-speed double overdrive. It basically has 4 shift patterns, the same as a 4-speed in a car. You run basically 4 gears, and you come into what they call a high range area, which starts a second set of 4 gears. And at that point, then you can break each one of those gears in half as you go. So that's where the combination of the 13 gears come from. And on this track, I don't shift with the air because the air's process is too slow. So once I get it into high range, I do all my shifting manually with the stick, and I only make like 4 gear changes throughout this whole course.
Where's the red line on your tachometer?
We run right around 3,000 RPMs. The engine is manufacturer governed at 2,100, but with all the modifications and so forth, we run it constantly at 3,000. Some of the other guys are running trucks 32 to 3,500, but with the gearing situation that we have in the truck, 3,000 is all we need to turn it.
The battle for the lead continues. And now that we've seen the inside of these beasts, it's a little easier to picture just what Murtaugh and Baker are going through now that the rain is also increasing in the latter part of this event. Baker is 35 years old, and he's been truck racing since its North American inception in 1979. But while we can see the intensity of his performance here today, he is still just a part-time racer. Like most of the other drivers, Baker has a job, and he goes racing on the truck racing circuit just as a hobby. Murtaugh, on the other hand, is a much older man. He's raced cars on short circuits for more than 20 years, but these days races only trucks. His experience makes him an ideal racer to ask how much modification is needed to change these trucks from their normal flat-out turn-left-only oval setups to something that will help them cope with Mosport's twists and turns.
We usually run just straight oval tracks and dirt tracks, and quite a bit. The tire setup, the spring setup, we're using a lot bigger gear here than we use at most tracks, and having a lot of fun.
Your first time on a road course?
First time, yes.
And the first time driving in the rain?
First time ever. I like it. I think we'll put on a good show.
How many horsepower are you running out of this truck?
Somewhere's over 1,000 horse. We're not sure exactly how much. Nobody will let us use their dynos, and for that kind of horsepower, we keep breaking them, so 1,000 horse.
1,000 horsepower and 10,000 pounds. No wonder here at corner 8 for the second time, Baker slides off into the dirt, again losing valuable seconds to Murtaugh before setting off once again in hot pursuit of the red number 33. It may be raining, but it won't dampen the enthusiasm of the crowd lining the 2.5-mile Mosport track as they continue to enjoy the struggle for the lead. Baker is still pushing hard in pursuit of the leader. Murtaugh's steadier style is keeping him ahead of the blue number 39, but for the second time, Baker begins to eat into the gap separating him from the leader. Over the hill and down into corner 2, Murtaugh leading. We see again an example of Baker's rather flamboyant style. A 4-wheel slide in the wet, a 10,000-pound, 1,000 horsepower monster. And at corner 3, the same as we watch the cab. We see Baker's hands as he corrects the slide and closes the gap between himself and the leader. More than a lap behind the battle for the lead is Luther Burton's yellow number 15, still in 3rd place. His progress has been steady, as in the earlier laps, he dropped to 5th place, but since then he has edged his way up to a comfortable position. But he knows that both Utley and Shauna Robinson are not far behind, waiting for a chance to close the gap and capture his 3rd place. He too is an old hand, an ex-car racer, now racing trucks for pleasure.
If they're set up right, they work like a car, but about the only real big difference is the car you sit down where you look at the wall, and the truck you sit up and look over the wall. That's about the only big difference. If it's set up right, you can drive it, but if it's not, you can't. And it's the same way with a car and a truck. It don't make any difference.
You feel safer in the truck?
I used to till I hit the wall at Rockingham, and I found out that you hit a lot harder. So I think it's worse.
Then at corner 8, it happens again. Off the track goes Charlie Baker. This time, though, he does not get right back into it. As Murtaugh builds a lead, Baker sits there in the grass, unable to get enough traction to get back onto the racing surface. By now, it's raining heavily as Utley is approached by the leader as he threatens to lap the 4th place man again. With Baker close behind, Murtaugh cannot slacken his pace. But his lead is still over a minute, a lead that Baker cannot make up in the remaining laps without the help of trouble striking the leader. But Baker does not give up. At corner 5, he is still passing the others where he can, when he can. But it is without much hope, for though he begins to eat at the gap separating him from the leader, Murtaugh is still way ahead. In the closing stages, with only 1 lap to go, Burton is forced to pit, his vision finally obscured by a debris-ridden windshield. As he enters pit row, he knows his 3rd spot is in jeopardy, for not far behind are Shauna Robinson and E.J. Utley. While he receives attention in the pit lane, he's passed by Robinson and Utley, dropping him back to 5th place. Murtaugh makes no mistakes. The championship leader comes into view at corner 8 with a healthy margin over the 2nd place man. And despite the rain, he knows that nothing can stop him from increasing his points margin over Baker. Around corner 9, up into corner 10, the rain flying from his tires, the red number 33 powers up the front straightaway to take the checkered flag. Today, the older, wiser head has prevailed. Murtaugh's classic style, concentrating on smoothness, has triumphed over youth and verve. And the New Yorker will leave Mosport richer, not only in pocket, but in achievement as well. Some 50 seconds later, the blue number 39 comes into view. While Baker has not today won the race, he certainly hasn't been defeated. No one present at Mosport will ever forget the sight of Baker's truck and its wild 4-wheel slides, or forget the determination which kept him in the fight despite 2 trips onto the grass. Here are the final results and the winner, Dick Murtaugh.
Congratulations, Dick. Was it as messy as it looked?
I think it was worse than it looked. I've never done anything like that before. But we had to beat these young kids. They think we're too old, and we're not.
Could you see anything? Looking at your windshield now, I don't know how you saw where you were going.
Guessing most of the time. And that Allison automatic in there in that Detroit motor, and it just does a job. The automatic really helped me in the rain.
Was it hard work nonetheless?
I'm about wore out. Yeah. But I got a sign in the back of the truck that sort of tells the story.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Charlie, pretty sloppy, but you're probably one of the only guys who could see where he was going.
Well, I spent enough time over there in the mud. You know, I spent more time in the mud than I spent on the racetrack, and over there, and I guess it's turn 8. And one time I got hung up over there and got stuck and couldn't get out, and then the truck wouldn't start, and I was just having a rough time all day long. And the track was so slippery at spots, and we were doing pretty good at the beginning of the race, and then going up the big hill over there on the Mario Andretti straight. Dick was getting a lot better traction than I was, and he ate me up there, I guess, twice. And then I got him back out here on the front stretch, and he got me again on the back stretch. And I went into that turn 8 up there just a little too hard chasing after him, and kept trying to do it lap after lap, which you'd think I'd have learned after the first time, but I didn't.
Judging by the smile, you enjoyed it, though.
Oh, I had a good time, yeah, I really did.
Hi.
Hi.
Finally.
Shauna, you had to pit a couple of times. You couldn't see where you were going. Was it hard slogging?
Yeah, that was what was bad about it. I could have probably done a little better, but I got out there, couldn't see anything at all, so I had to come in. So we had to get it cleaned off. And it's a good thing it was over because I was just about ready to come in again.
We came here for the Rothmans Great American Truck Race expecting more of a novelty than a motor race. But what we saw was a display of great driving talent and some good competition. For Sports Weekend, I'm Paul Chater at Mosport, Ontario.
I think we need to get that big rig series back. I know that they visited Cayuga and tore up the asphalt. Up next, we go to Kitchener, Ontario for the off-road sprints. Enjoy.
The off-road sprint championships are part of Oktoberfest of the Kitchener-Waterloo area. Oktoberfest means beer halls and oom-pah-pah bands and good German food and a whole lot of fun. Well, Paul Chater, the fun today is right here on this track at Bingaman Park. Off-road racing is certainly different, and perhaps you can tell us what to watch for today.
Well, we're going to see several different types of off-road racing, from great big 4x4 trucks to small Volkswagen Beetles that have been modified for racing, and also some open-wheel single-seater racers. It's very inexpensive, and it's also pretty exciting.
What would the top speed be for these vehicles here?
Well, I think over some of the bumps in the sand, maybe only 80 miles an hour, but it looks like a lot more.
Only 80 miles an hour. Okay, let's see what it's all about.
We're back live now for the start of the feature sedan race.
The flag down, the pack scurrying into the first corner with a Mazda of Kirk Cavanaugh out in front, followed by Vince Derrick in a Carmen Ghia.
Don, you can see there really is no definitive way to go through a corner on this track. You just pick a hole where there are no other cars and put your right foot down. Very hard.
Coming into the last corner before the straight, there's a lot of fender bashing going on, but everybody gets through okay.
The leader of the Baja Bugs into the final corner before the start-finish straight, and the Datsun just barely hanging on.
Derrick finally does it. The Oakville driver moves ahead now.
A lot of sand kicking up on the outside of the course as he tries to maintain his lead. He passed Kirk Cavanaugh down the front straightaway. Young 20-year-old driver in only his second full year of racing is doing a superb job in the Carmen Ghia, hanging on to first place. Vince Derrick out in front with Kirk Cavanaugh desperately trying to hang on in second place. And leading the Class 3 is Doug Williamson, number 371.
Well, these guys are tough, but I'll tell you, they just don't give up. That's the second time today we've seen drivers trying to race on only 3 wheels.
Pretty tough losing one of the driving wheels. You can see his left rear is gone completely, and he's still going to try to get it across the line. That's Andy Horner of Toronto. He's been forced to park his bug on the outside of the circuit.
The leader, Derrick, gets blocked trying to go around some slower traffic, and that bug in front of him is driven by the association's president, Roger Vachon.
Well, that could cost Vince Derrick some ground as they head over the moguls down the back straight, and indeed it has. We've got a new leader, Doug Williamson. 26-year-old from West Hill, Ontario. He's been racing for 6 years. He's now leading this event. And some more three-wheeled racing. That Datsun is really suffering some problems. We can see the white flag being waved for the last lap. Doug Williamson in the lead. Vince Derrick now back into second place. Out into the deep sand, Derrick losing some ground down the back part of the course, and the Baja Bug just charging away. We can see there's Williamson now going through the last corner and bouncing and bobbing and weaving behind him is Vince Derrick trying to make up some ground, but he's not going to be able to do it. Williamson driving hard for the checkered flag. He'll add this victory to a long string of wins over the Molson Summer 80 season. He's the class champion.
Earlier today, Paul talked to Bill Lefebvre. He was the top off-road racer in the country last year. He talked about the open-wheel classic racing.
With me is Bill Lefebvre from Limehouse, Ontario. And Bill, maybe we can take a few minutes now and have a look at what an off-road racer really is. First of all, starting on the front suspension here, where do you begin? Does it come from a Volkswagen?
Yes, it's a stock VW front end.
And when you look at this car, some race cars are very aerodynamic. This one, a little bit flatter. You don't pay much attention to the bodywork.
No, I choose aluminum because it's easier to repair and fix rather than fiberglass.
And the net on the window back here, or the window, where there isn't a window, you have a net.
That's to prevent your arms from being broken or crushed in rollovers.
And there's a lever on the inside here, Bill, that looks like another gear shift. Exactly what do you have that for?
That's a steering brake. It works the same as a tractor. I can slow one wheel down or the other wheel at will, just by pushing the lever backwards and forwards.
So you can get the car sliding into the corners a little more.
And turn sharper.
Now, in the business department back here, this doesn't look like your average Volkswagen engine.
No, it isn't. Again, it's just basically a VW housing, and I've increased the displacement to 1.8 liters, added a larger carburetor and valving, and the crankshaft is different also.
Right off the start, and Robert Whittick grabs the lead as they head into the first corner. You can one car straight through the mud hole, most of the cars choosing to go on either side of it. Into the first corner, and Whittick leads with Morath in second place.
They are all over the track, Paul, trying to pass with Whittick still in front and Morath challenging.
You can see here, Don, how some drivers choose the inside line through the corners while others prefer gaining speed on the outside through a turn as they charge down the straightaway over the moguls. Lots of bouncing and bobbing going on into the last corner.
Now Whittick has lost the lead to Morath, and he looks like he's going to lose second now.
Almost, but not quite. Joel Croft pushing hard at number 200.
This is 19-year-old Robert Morth, really off the road. The son of the leader, not able to keep pace with his father.
And his father is really starting to charge now. Going into the first corner, Morth is out in front. He looks comfortable backing off a little bit over that last mogul. And Wittick is staying right with him through the deep sand. We've still got a tight group of cars running up in the front. Morth out in front and Wittick in second place. And 4 or 5 guys running through the hole on the inside of the curve instead of staying up to the outside.
Croft is now third at this stage. Now here's something you don't see very often, a stuck race car.
He put a wheel off on the inside of the corner, and he can't get any traction to that right rear wheel. He's going to sit there for a while.
19-year-old Morth in more difficulty.
He went off the road earlier, and now he's just left spinning his wheels, sitting here with not much to do as his father continues to lead this race. Croft is now up to second, and Rob Wittick has slid all the way back to fourth.
Younger Morth still trying to get back in the race, but it appears hopeless for him now.
The top 2 front runners beginning to pull away from the rest of the field. The elder Morth out in front. And Joel Croft on the inside trying to make a move down the front straightaway in number 200. Croft is after the class championship here today. He's had a good season in the Molson Summer 80 Racing Championship.
Now here is Wayne Goddard. He's going to get out of his car to try to fix it, but that could be it for him.
The leaders at the moment out on the track while Goddard tries to fix that engine problem. The leaders are remaining the same with Morth out in front and Croft staying right with them, and those two pulling away from the rest of the field substantially.
It is pretty much their own contest right now as they leap and bump along this course here at Oktoberfest celebrations in Kitchener, Ontario.
Joel Croft is staying right with Morth down the back straightaway. As we see Wittick going through the corner, he's down into 4th place now. The car's through the bottom turn, and we've got a new leader. Joel Croft has passed Morth. Morth back to 2nd place, and Croft after his class championship today.
Croft maintaining that lead.
Choosing to go through the heavy sand on the outside of the corner. We can see how much strain is put on his arms when he goes over those big bumps. He's starting to pull away from Morth there in 272, who is running in 2nd place.
Now let's have a look at Joel Croft from the point of view of the driver, how it looks to him as he bounces and bobs and weaves over this pounding course.
He's sitting in 2nd place over the jump, and Croft is really starting to pull away from the rest of the field in this event. He only did a 3rd place finish in his heat earlier today. This is a surprise for him, but he is on his way to a class championship if he can stay in front.
Spectators bundle up against the cold here in Kitchener, Ontario. These drivers are warm enough now as they're flying around the course, giving it all they've got.
There's the leader, Joel Croft, over the jump, and Bob Morth over it as well. Let's have another look at what these cars go through when they're going over the jump. There's Morth cresting the top, a lot of suspension compression, and the jolt isn't as bad as it looks for the driver.
Well, you were in there, you should know, but it does look bad enough if you're a spectator.
There goes our leader, Joel Croft, on his last lap. He's got a big lead. That's a lapped car that is farther back in the field. And here's 2nd place now, Robert Morth, number 272, a long way back in 2nd. And it looks like Croft may have himself a class championship.
Well, he's getting boxed in a little bit there and plenty of traffic. Morth and Wittick now have made up some ground.
Charging towards the checkered flag, and it looks like a good win for Joel Croft. He's coming towards the jump, and he takes the flag.
Well, everybody loves a come-from-behind winner, as Croft was in this event today. He's getting out of his car now, and Paul is there to talk with him.
Joel, once you got the lead, it looked easy from there on.
No, not really. The car had to stay together to the very end. It was worth it.
And now you're the class champion. You must be pretty happy.
We did a lot of work. Finally paid off to the very end.
How many races over the course of the season would you have to run to win the championship?
Oh, I think we won about 6, and we placed 2nd a couple times and 3rd twice.
The prize money just about pay for the expense of racing for a season?
Never, never.
And why do you do it?
Just for the sport. Just for the sport.
getting ready for the 4x4 feature race. You must like this sport to be as cold as you look and come out here and watch it today.
Yeah, I love watching the racing. I love watching the 4x4s. We race all summer long in the drags and obstacle. I don't race obstacle though.
Well, it may be cold, but these fans are waiting anxiously to see how these big 3,500-pound beasts handle the course, which has become quite chewed up over the races already run today.
All right, we have got a start, and those ungainly-looking trucks jostle for position with Thumper, the favorites, in the lead.
Pounding into the first corner on the inside, the Datsun four-wheel drive truck out in front, the Chevy pickup in second place. That's Bob Miller, who's doing a lot of bouncing over the moguls in the sand. As they head down the back straightaway, Miller chooses the inside line through the big hole, as do the Jeeps who are right behind him. That hole is a problem for these big trucks. Not so much for the small, open-wheeled racers, however. Heading down the back straightaway, through the last corner, the Jeep's getting through without any problem, and we've got a brand new leader.
That's Bob Miller of Aurora in that Chevy pickup.
A Datsun 4x4 pickup hanging on to second place straight through the mud hole, and a big bounce for him over the rise. And Bob Miller is in the deep sand through the first corner up a short hill, and then he'll hit those really bad moguls down the back straightaway. And it takes a lot of muscle to handle one of these trucks. As you can see the kind of beating those drivers are taking in there.
They are being thrashed around on this course. And lumbering is the word. There's not a great deal of speed there. They're airborne at several times, as you can see.
Some of the drivers choosing an outside line through that deep sand. It seems to be one of the best ways through, but nobody can stay with this Chevy pickup of Bob Miller.
Miller from Aurora in the lead right now and coasting along very comfortably at this stage. Uh-oh, there's a spill, a Jeep off the course, heading for those cement casings, and he really clobbered that, but it appears to be all right.
He rolled right over, Don, and let's have a look at that now in slow motion, heading towards it, upside down, a big thump into the inside of the corner and back on its wheels, but he seems to be all right now.
Just shake it up a little bit, but apparently okay. None the worse for wear and the contact.
We're back with the leader, Bob Miller, in his Chevy pickup truck, watching the Datsun Thumper just bouncing like crazy going into that corner. He always chooses to run through the mud hole. And running in third spot is Milan Mazanik, number 111. He seems to be gaining some ground. He's closing quickly on the Datsun. Down the back straightaway, over the moguls. The Datsun on the inside line misses the worst part of that hole, but Mazanik goes right through it and puts his foot down. Bob Miller heading down the front straightaway now. He's got his boot right in it. You can see all the sand that he's kicking up behind.
This place is paradise for a shock absorber salesman.
It's true, Don, and for all the flying they're doing, you may be interested to know that they're using part aviation fuel mixed in with the gasoline. And we've got a vehicle off on the outside, stalled as Miller comes through the first corner. He had to take that a lot slower that time because of the stalled truck on the outside, but he's got the power back on now over the big bumps.
Well, he still has the lead, but he's got to show respect for Mazanik and LaRocque in pursuit of him right now. He's not exactly got this all wrapped up just yet.
And Mazanik making a move to grab second place. The blue truck number 111 on the inside. Coming through the corner, he's going to choose through the big hole, and he's got it. Thumper, the Datsun, in trouble out in the deep sand, and Mazanik is now up in the second place with truck number 111.
Look at the punishment these vehicles take, and not to mention the men inside them.
A big flying maneuver there for Bob Miller, the leader in the Chevy pickup truck. Doesn't seem to be bothering him whatsoever. He's bouncing that truck all over the track. As the yellow flag is out to indicate to the drivers that that disabled vehicle from the rollover earlier is sitting still on the edge of the track. Mazanik comes through, heads through the last corner, and Thumper's out of the race.
Yep, that could be it. That's all for Thumper, steadily losing ground to the leaders as it was, but out of it now.
They've just parked the car on the edge of the track now, taking their helmets off, and that's going to be it for the day for them. So Gary Hammond has finished his racing for 1980 as Bob Miller heads into the last corner for the last time. He's going down the front straightaway for an easy victory.
Yes, Miller is going to win it. All with the next Class 1 coming up, talks to top American racer Steve Norris now. Here's the interview.
Steve Norris, you've traveled quite a distance to come up here this weekend, I understand.
Yeah, we try to make most of them up here. It's a lot of fun running up here, a lot better than it is in the States.
Where are you from?
Detroit, about 20 miles outside of Detroit.
Dave, why do you prefer to race in Canada?
I think it's the attitude of everybody up here. It's a lot friendlier atmosphere. Everybody's not out for blood. Everybody's racing to race. You know, they're not out for it because they got an $8,000 car. And it's just, well, you'd have to race in the States to see what I mean. It's a completely different ballgame over here. Because here, they cater to the racers, and over there, they expect the racers to cater to the promoters. And it doesn't work that way. The racers are the ones that are putting on the show.
Do you spend a lot more on your racing than you'd say the average guy here?
Most of the United States cars have got quite a few more bucks in them than the Canadian cars, mostly because I think the money's a little bit more available over there, you know, and the parts are easier to come by because they're all made on the west coast of the States.
They're lining up for this Class 1 race now. Norris, one of the favorites, also Bill Lefebvre, another right up front. Norris and yellow car 151, and they're off.
And around the jump on the first lap instead of over it, and we've got a surprise leader now into the first corner. That's 9-year veteran Glenn Dinsmore. Number 153 with Bill Lefebvre in second place, and Steve Norris in third spot. He won the heat earlier today. He's right behind Lefebvre as they head through the big hole here. Most of the cars getting through without any trouble, but they're taking a tremendous beating now that the track is even more chewed up than it was before. There's Norris, 151 in third place, and Lefebvre has grabbed the lead. Bill Lefebvre down the inside, down the front straightaway, is now out in front. Glenn Dinsmore is back into second.
And those holes getting bigger and bigger as the competition progresses here today. You mentioned Bill Lefebvre. Let's get right inside his car and watch as he struggles to make up another place. It's amazing how he can even hang onto the steering wheel through all this bouncing.
Down this straightaway, he's hitting speeds close to 80 miles per hour, and that's got to be exciting over all those bumps. And we've got a new leader now. That's Steve Norris on the inside over the big jump. Dinsmore wide on the outside, and Bill Lefebvre down in third spot, but on the inside of the corner.
Well, they call them tail draggers. Good reason, I suspect.
Well, here's a driver who's not dragging his tail at all. He flipped it up and over. That's Fred Smith, number 915. And he kept the engine running, and he's going to keep right on going. Let's have a look at that in slow motion. As he got into the corner, got out of shape, the car started to go upside down, and over he went. But the roll cage in the car protected him, as did the harness that they wear. It's a full harness, and the net on the window, which Bill Lefebvre mentioned earlier, kept his arms from flying out and getting crushed by the roll cage.
All right, back with the leaders now. Norris first, Dinsmore second, and Lefebvre still looking for a place to pass.
Coming down into the first corner over the big bumps, there's Norris, number 151 in first place. He's got a bigger lead than we've seen anybody have at all during this event so far. There's Bill Lefebvre back in third spot. Dinsmore is still running in second place, but Lefebvre is looking for some room to get by him.
A number of Class 9 cars in this event. And number 951 there you see, James Gibb. And he is going to give up the lead to Jeff Kenward now.
Jeff Kenward leading Class 9, and there's our overall leader in Class 1, number 151. Steve Norris, he balked a little bit going through the corner. Looks like he missed a gear. And from the inside of Bill Lefebvre's car, you can see the kind of punishment they're taking. With all the mud being splattered back in his face, it's a wonder he can drive this thing at all. Steve Norris continues to lead. Bill Lefebvre down the inside in third spot, and Dinsmore still running second.
Well, equipment plays such a big role in this game. It's critical, as a matter of fact. Before the event, Bill Lefebvre changed tires and shock absorbers on his vehicle. Paul talked to Bill about that before the race began earlier today.
Bill, after your first heat, you've decided to change the tires on this. Why?
The tires that I'm using in the second in the feature will be of a deeper tread pattern for the sand. I didn't have enough traction with the tires I had on previously.
And what happens when you get out into the sand with the wrong kind of tires?
I get wheel spin and I slow down.
Does it make it more difficult to handle?
Yes, it's a little skiddierish, but it should be. I should solve the problem with these tires here. They're bigger lugs for greater traction.
Back with the action now. Lefebvre is still third. Dinsmore second. Norris still leads it.
Norris already through the first turn with Dinsmore right behind him, and we can see Bill Lefebvre now with those new tires able to run out in the sand a little more, and he could be making up some ground. He's pushing very hard over the moguls on the back straightaway. And the leader, 151, Norris, getting balked behind some of the Class 9 cars.
A rush hour traffic jam out there, Paul.
Some of that has slowed down Norris sufficiently to allow Bill Lefebvre and Dinsmore to gain some ground. There's Lefebvre side by side with Dinsmore over the jump, and he's got second place. Norris continues to lead. There's Lefebvre in second, and Dinsmore now back to third.
And Lefebvre pressing Norris for the lead.
Norris now has his hands full as he gets through the last corner heading out onto the straight, and a big slide there for Bill Lefebvre. He's going to charge down the inside of the straightaway, and he's gaining on Norris.
He is making his move now on the final lap.
Coming down over the jump, and he's right on the tail of Norris, trying to move to the inside through the first corner, but he backs off a little bit, content for the moment to sit back there. Norris out into the deep sand, and Lefebvre's got him. Bill Lefebvre is out in front.
He's made his move right there. The question is now, can he hang on to it? Not much time and distance left.
There goes Norris, a last-ditch attempt down the inside, but he didn't have enough room to get by, and Lefebvre's got the power down.
So Lefebvre with a big move in the final lap. The Canadian is going to take the checkered flag ahead of Norris, the American. An example of the good close racing we've had all day here in the off-road sprints in Kitchener, capped by that great drive by Lefebvre. Other drivers now having presentations made to them for their efforts today. But we're going to go down now and have Paul get into conversation with a very happy winner of this race, Mr. Bill Lefebvre.
Bill, you had to claw and scratch your way up into the front in that race.
That was a hard race, and that's the way it's been all summer. A lot of good competition.
Where did you make up the difference?
I think I was making it up through the sand and going into the corner, running into the sand.
So the change of tires made a big difference.
Sure did.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So Bill Lefebvre wins his second Class 1 championship in a row. This 37-year-old veteran and 9-year experienced driver comes through.
It's been a super day for Ontario drivers, Don. With the exception of one heat race, they grabbed top honors in every event today.
So that's it from Kitchener and the Mosport Oktoberfest off-road sprints. For Paul Chater, I'm Don Chevrier. So long for now.
Today, we witnessed two unique events that were both produced by Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame producer Lawrence Partington. Back in the 1980s, Canadian racetracks were busy from coast to coast. If it had an engine in it, it got raced. Thanks for watching From the Vault. See you next time.
From the Vault is brought to you by M-Zone, premium auto care, proudly owned and made by Canadians. By Recap Recovery Drink. By WeatherTech. For the perfect fit and ultimate in-vehicle protection, nothing protects like WeatherTech. Order online at weathertech.ca. And by the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame. Visit our website for Hall merchandise.